So, two things. I want you to tell people who are listening who Viktor Frankl is. Not everybody might know who he is, right? And he's so important to know about. And two, I think when I discovered the notion of stories, like that's just a story, and those are stories, it was pretty life-changing for me. And so I want you to break that down even more, like really break it down for somebody who might just not have access to this kind of information. Tell them about what stories are and how we create them and how we can change them.
Yeah, great, great. So Viktor Frankl was an Austrian psychiatrist. He was a Holocaust survivor, and so his legacy was kind of working around how we make meaning, how we take the outside world and we internalize it, and the way in which we internalize it either opens up freedom or feels like these little prisons. So around this idea of stories, right? So we as human beings, we are meaning-making creatures. We make meaning so quickly, and it feels very much to us like capital T truth, right? The only possible way to see the fact that it took you 2 hours to respond to my text is that you don't respect me. Capital T truth. That is the only, 4 out of 5 dentists would say, like everybody would agree, my friends would agree. It feels like capital T truth. And so I agree that as I started to get my head around that idea of stories and how stories either constrict us or expand us, it's pretty life-changing. So just the mere act of saying, the story I'm starting to tell myself when it takes you 2 hours to text me back is that you must not respect me very much.
Yep.
That's a difference that makes a difference.
It is, and it leaves space. So I'll say that even in my own marriage, sometimes my husband will say to me, well, that's your story around that. Or I'll say, my story around this is this. And there's something that gives it just a little bit of space where it's so much different than you did this or you didn't do this. It just slows it down and takes the edge off just enough that actually even leaves possibility for curiosity or wonder or potentially I'm wrong, but my story is that you were late today because you didn't really even want to get together, and then it gives possibility to like, oh, no, just a very different, less reactive, defensive response on the other end, don't you think?
Yes, right. The absence of saying the story I'm telling myself is it's right. It's a total invitation to defensiveness. And then when our partner gets defensive, yeah, but you were late last week, or yeah, but at least I, blah, 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 then the core yearning, the wounded part, the hurt feeling inside of us goes wholly ignored. So it's ineffective, right? Because the truth of the matter is I feel hurt that it took you 2 hours to text me back. But if I go into accusation, this means you don't respect me. It invites defensiveness. And now we're a million miles away from my hurt feeling. And my hurt feeling may be a very old, tender little girl part of me that really didn't feel like she was much of a priority in her house because whatever, her mom was depressed, her father was addicted, they were, youngest of 7 children, whatever those stories are that the little girl or the little boy inside of us carries. It's so sad when our reactivity keeps us from getting the very thing we need, which is just a little bit of validation. My feelings were hurt. I got scared. I missed you, and whatever that is.